It's gonna learn backwards. I drew that a long time ago, probably 5 years ago, and I guess there was a reason. So I'm gonna read through a declaration from the health department, the interim health director. And while I do that, I'm going to hold documents up in front of my face, since I don't have the ability at the moment to flip the camera around so that it can just show you on screen. So what I'm going to hold up are the cited references in the law, the actual law in some cases, in other cases just an administrative rule in this highly unconstitutional order, which will literally put you in a FEMA camp. Yeah, FEMA camp. And that's all dependent upon how the local health official feels your situation is. So here, let me get to this, and I'll read through it, and I'll be holding these up as I go. So, everything that I hold up I'm going to read off. Alright, Director's Order. Director's second amended order for non-congregate sheltering to be utilized throughout Ohio. I, Lance Himes, Interim Director of the Ohio Department of Health, ODH, pursuant to the authority granted to me in RC 3701-04 to require reports and make inspections and investigations that the Director considers necessary, RC 3701-13 to make special orders for preventing the spread of contagious or infectious diseases, and RC 3701.14 to investigate or make inquiry as to the cause of disease or illness, including contagious, infectious, epidemic, pandemic, or endemic conditions, and take prompt action to control and suppress it. Order the following to prevent the spread of COVID-19 within the state of Ohio. Non-congregate sheltering be utilized throughout the state for those who are unable to safely self-quarantine in their place of residence and to isolate those diagnosed with or showing symptoms of COVID-19. Examples of the types of persons included in this order are those who test positive for COVID-19 who do not require hospitalization but need isolation, including those exiting from hospitals, those who have been exposed to COVID-19 who do not require hospitalization, and asymptomatic high-risk individuals needing social distancing as a precautionary measure. Sheltering specific populations in non-congregate shelters should be determined by a local public health official's direction or guidance and should be based on individual needs. 2. On March 20, 2020, the state of Ohio and FEMA entered into a FEMA state agreement applicable to the entire state of Ohio and authorizing applicants to apply for emergency protective measures, including non-congregate sheltering. 3. The Ohio Emergency Management Agency, EMA, is to secure the necessary approvals for the use of non-congregate sheltering statewide, and local government agencies should take all necessary actions to identify both public and private facilities, secure available space, and enter into any contracts or mutual aid agreements that may be necessary to procure, equip, and operate non-congregate shelters throughout the state. In the event state officials determine there is a need for the state to operate a non-congregate shelter, the Ohio EMA shall coordinate with the appropriate state entities. Public colleges and universities are directed to make available vacant grounds, buildings, and facilities of such college or university as determined to be necessary and suitable after reasonable consultation between the respective college or university officials and the local board of health. Ohio EMA or County Emergency Management Agency for temporary use as non-congregate sheltering to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Public colleges and universities are further directed to negotiate a mutual aid agreement between the respective college or university officials and the local board of health. Ohio EMA or County Emergency Management Agency for the temporary use of such colleges or universities available vacant grounds, buildings, and facilities as have been determined to be necessary and suitable for temporary use as non-congregate sheltering to prevent the spread of COVID-19. To the extent deemed necessary to implement this order. Such mutual aid agreements may include temporary private medical facility use of such colleges or universities available vacant grounds, buildings, and facilities, and such college or university and its personnel shall be deemed to be performing a public duty and entitled to the defenses to and immunities from civil liability provided in RC 274302, RC 274402, and RC 274403 in connection with such temporary private medical facility use. Public colleges and universities are further directed to impose reasonable restrictions on the use of and access to the property and facilities of such college or university pursuant to RC 3345.26, deemed necessary to implement this order. I'm going to hold some of these up because I got a little bit behind, because there's a whole bunch of them real quick. So if you want, you can pause the video, and I think I might have missed one while I was going through the one previous to this giant batch of them. I encourage you to read these or go look them up yourself, because these administrative rules really do end up destroying your entire government in Ohio, and this is going to happen in every state. Number 7. In accordance with RC 3345.02, except for a community college, state community college, technical college, or university branch, a state institution of higher education, and its personnel, while requesting or providing assistance or aid pursuant to mutual aid agreement under this order, shall be deemed to be performing a public duty as defined in RC 274301. And here's the rest of that. And have the defenses to and immunities from civil liability provided in RC 274302. Community colleges, state community colleges, technical colleges, university branches, and personnel of such institutions, while requesting or providing assistance or aid pursuant to a mutual aid agreement under this order, shall have the defenses and immunities from civil liability provided in RC 274402 and RC 274403, and shall be entitled to all applicable limitations on recoverable damages under RC 274405. And I believe I held up the beginning of 274405, and here's the rest of it right there. Nothing in this amended order prevents private Ohio colleges or universities from working with Ohio EMA and or local authorities to provide non-congregate shelter if needed. They may enter into mutual aid agreements under section 5502.30 of the revised code. You can look all of these up on the Ohio RC and then type in the number, it'll pop right up. This amended order shall take effect immediately and remain in full force, and it will expire in 90 days or at a time to be determined by the Director of Health, whichever is sooner. Accordingly, to avoid an imminent threat with a high probability of widespread exposure to the COVID-19 hoax with a significant risk of substantial harm to a large number of people in the general population, including the elderly and people with weakened immune systems and chronic medical conditions, I hereby order, he's ordering you, I hereby order non-congregate sheltering be utilized throughout the state for those who are unable to safely self-quarantine in their place of residence and to isolate those diagnosed with or showing symptoms of COVID-19. That's a symptom of COVID-19. Ohio better stay out of South Dakota. This order shall take effect immediately and remain in full force, and it will expire 90 days or at a time to be determined by the Director of Health, whichever is sooner. Now, he signed this, and it was on August 28th, 2020. In 90 days, August, September, October, November. It will expire on November 28th. And if he can do it here, rest assured, he can do it later too. So I want you to send this to everybody in Ohio that you know. I want every single person in Ohio to hear this, or at least become familiar with the literature and the document. And you guys need to go have some large-scale protests. Large-scale protests. There should be millions of people in Ohio out in the streets. There's no reason for anybody to go along with this anymore. Got a couple of suggestions, and I suggested this before. You need to read this book, preferably cover to cover, but if you don't have the time or the desire, but you want to learn something about it, again, read Matthew. It's a great introduction to Jesus Christ, and it's a great introduction to what is coming upon the earth and why. You can read plenty further. There's Isaiah and Jeremiah and Nehemiah and Daniel and Revelation and the rest of the gospel, the book of Acts. There's all kinds of stuff in here that will explain to you exactly what's going on. Exactly what's going on. God is lifting his veil. He is giving this country to tyrants. If you want to see what this is going to end up looking like, especially in Ohio, I just read the second volume of this. I finished it today. These are the saddest books I've ever read. Absolute saddest books I've ever read. This is where we're going. And we're starting. We're starting. This is the beginning of the United States archipelago. Do you think we have too many people locked up now? Wait until they start locking people up like they talk about in the Bible. I really do encourage you to go read it. And please share this to everybody that you know in the state of Ohio. I don't know anybody in the state of Ohio, so I hope that it gets there. Realize that I know a lot of people in Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois. I have family spread out across the country. Every single one of you, all of you, in every state. You all have laws that say these things. Whether your governor enacted them or not, and moved on them or not, it was up to the governor. I basically fled a state and came to South Dakota because of the stupid mask law that isn't going to go away. These mask laws turn into exactly what they're doing in Ohio, exactly what they're doing in Hawaii. If you really want to go watch some goofed up stuff, go watch what they're doing in Australia. They're literally going to people's homes for saying, I'm going to go to a rally. Don't you go. I don't encourage you to go. But I'm going. That's incitement in Australia. They're locking people up. They're forcibly breaking into their homes with search warrants and locking them up. There's not much time left to turn this around. You need to hit your knees and ask for protection. Open your heart to Jesus Christ and pray to him and his Father. And then you need to go to the streets and try to resolve this peaceably. Peaceably. Avoid the civil war. That's what they want. I love you all. Good luck.